One of my favorite Old Testament books is Esther. In this story, this young lady finds herself moving from being a slave because the Hebrews, which were her people, the Jews, were enslaved in Persia. And she finds her way through God's work and providence to becoming the queen of Persia. But it's not a queen like you may think. She didn't have any real authority. Actually, she couldn't even go in to see the king unless she was asked for. And so that's where Esther is. She's in the royal household. She's sequestered and only invited to see the king when the king wants her. While this is happening, something else is going on in the background. This evil guy named Haman hates the Jews. And it just so happens he particularly hates Esther's relative Mordecai. And so Haman happens to be close to the king, and he convinced the king to pass an edict, a law, that would effectively destroy all of the Jews. If this law is passed and enacted, then all Jews throughout all of the empire, they're in danger. Their lives will be lost. Mordecai weeps and moans, and he rips his clothes. He puts on sackcloth and ashes, and word gets to Esther in the royal court that this is happening. And so Esther sends word to Mordecai and says, "What's going on with you?" And he talks back to her and says, "Do you not know that Haman has managed to get the king to pass a law that will destroy all of our people? Esther, you've got to do something. You've got to act. You have to go into the king and convince him that this law is bad and get him to change his mind." Esther is frightened because she knows that unless she is invited to see the king, if she interrupts him, then she could be killed herself. And so she's hesitant. And then one of my favorite lines from all of Scripture is spoken by Mordecai when he says to Esther, "Maybe," he says, maybe you have been put in this position for such a time as this." After hearing that, Esther asked Mordecai to tell all the Jews to fast for 3 days. They fast, they pray for her, and then she gains her courage and she approaches the king. The king does receive her, and the king says, "What can I do for you?" And Esther tells him about what's going on. The result of Esther's courage is that the Jews are saved. The evil guy Haman's actually the one who ends up getting killed. But the Jews are saved because of Esther's courage, because Esther made the right decision. Esther acted for such a time that she was in. And so the question for us right now is, will we, like Esther, here at Denver United Methodist Church, have the faith and courage to answer yes to God's request to act? Will we say yes right now? I believe that God has placed us at the intersection of thousands of lives that need to be reached for the sake of Christ. I believe that this is for such a time as this moment. This is our time to act right now. And why do I believe this? Because we are called to reach all who live in our community. All the way from those who occupy the $1 million homes on the shores of Lake Norman to those who live in poverty in the shadow of our area of affluence. I believe we're called to reach everybody for the sake of Christ.
We have been a member of this church, an active member of this church for 70 plus years.
It's a warm church. It invites, I feel like we invite and welcome new people, and therefore that makes a difference in our life because we know our church will continue to grow, and that's what we want it to do.
How do we meet this diverse set of needs? Well, we have developed a 5-year plan that includes a new 9,000 square foot mission center, interior renovations, debt elimination, and then construction of new space for children's ministry, youth expansion, worship, discipleship, and connectivity to tie our existing campus together in one easy to navigate cohesive structure.
The plan started by understanding how the community is going to be growing over the next 5 to 10 years. And if we're not ready to anticipate that growth, then we're not going to be in the best possible position to serve our community and to serve the folks that are going to be coming into these doors.
I'm super excited about the 5-year plan. Just seeing the vision that our leadership team has come up with. It makes us extremely excited for our children as they're going to be growing up in this church.
This is a lot. It's a big plan. So where do we start? Well, we start with step 1, which is first and foremost the construction of a mission resource center. Right now, we have ministries scattered in storage units, closets, garages, and basements. Right now, we already are serving 29 kids each week at 4 different schools through our backpack ministry. But we can't grow that ministry because we have no more room. We are committed to serving others first. Then we will do the interior renovations. Then we will eliminate all debt to put us on a solid foundation to launch into step 2 in a couple of years.
Just be excited about where God's leading our church. It's going to be awesome to stand back and just watch God use what we give to not only increase our footprint in the community, but to increase our association with people and how we can help people grow to know more about Christ and come to know Him as their Savior.
So here we are. Step 1 is approximately $1.85 million. Yes, that's a big ask. But here's what I know. The same God who placed Esther in the right place at the right time is the same God who has called and led Denver United Methodist Church to this place and time for such a time as this. This plan is the right thing to do, and now is the time to act.
You just have to share. You just have to do it. You pray about it and you give what you can. I give to Denver United Methodist Church because I want to share my love and my gift to the glory of God.
Will you please join me in saying yes to what God has in store for His church right now?